It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Chess is not a problem. Not for me, at least. For some people, maybe. Let's put those back. It's not where they go, but it's fine for now. Whew. Close call. Wrong pills. I'm supposed to take these at bedtime. Pawn, knight, 1 + 3 = 4. So it might not have been a fatal dosage. But let's take our chances on the chessboard, not in real life.
Why everything that's supposed to be bad make me feel so good? Everything they told me not to is exactly what I would. Man, I tried to stop, man. I tried the best I could, but you make me smile with my heart. Oh, hey, what's your addiction? Is it money? Is it girls? Is it weed? I've been afflicted by not one, not two, but all three. She's got the same thing about me, but more about us. And she's coming over. So I guess that means I'm her drug. Just let me peek now. I mean, dang. I'm so curious. She's got a lover. So the lies and the lust is a rush. Time's of the essence. I need you to be spontaneous and roll up the doja in the end, Coca-Cola. Then I guess I'm coming over because it's never over. No.
You don't even think about it. So rookie one. Now, Ravi Haria plays queen d8, which is one of the best moves. But you'll notice the mysterious move by Magnus strikes a little bit of fear and uncertainty. 20 minutes spent on a queen move. It's a fascinating thing about chess. This is why chess is going to be very difficult to get on television screens, okay? Because
The same, Mr. Gotham? Um, um, unless I'm hallucinating, I think Levy Rosman slash Gotham Chess said chess is going to be difficult to get on television screens. Um, I'm going to let him finish.
you watch any sport, you go, hit the ball, shoot the puck, yeah. Like, nobody at a sports bar is going to sit in this position for 20 minutes and go, wow, that's an absolutely fascinating rook move. Let me check my online database. I don't think it's ever happened. Black's got tremendous pressure here on the centre, but White is a move away from alleviating it. And White definitely wants to create this multifaceted bishop reroute, but doing that would negate the safety of the queens. Like, nobody's sitting at a sports bar for 20 minutes drinking an Allagash white beer and doing this. Okay.
I don't know what an Allagash white beer is, um, but that impersonation by Levy of a drunk guy at a sports bar sounds exactly like me when Eric Rosen's Twitch stream comes on the big screen at Carson's Sports Bar and Karaoke here in St. Louis, Missouri. Levy, I'm going to play that back just to be sure you actually said what I think you said. Surely you didn't mean that. Surely not. And and if I heard that correctly, I would encourage Mr. Gotham to put as much time into preparing his words as he does his fabulous instructional chess content.
Because, again, to the untrained eye, it just looks like rook c1 and you fight on the open file. You don't even think about it. So rook e1. Now, Ravi Haria plays queen d8, which is one of the best moves. But you'll notice the mysterious move by Magnus strikes a little bit of fear and uncertainty. 20 minutes spent on a queen move. It's a fascinating thing about chess. Yeah. This is why chess is going to be very difficult to get on television screens.
You said it. He actually said
I trusted you. I shared your YouTube channel with my beginner chess playing friends because I thought you wouldn't let them down. Um, let that rare slip up by international master Levy Rosman be a reminder that even popular professional streamers and strong grandmasters are still technically human and therefore capable of making errors. We're going to be on television. I mentioned Carson's Sports Bar and Karaoke, located in Soulard, St. Louis, Missouri, chess capital of America. The DJ, his name is Ryan, my friend and fellow chess enthusiast. Every evening, there is not a major college or professional football game on. You can count on Carson's to have International Master Eric Rosen's Twitch stream on the big screen. When that happens, a few times, I've been hitting on an attractive woman at the bar. It's going well, then suddenly I get lost in Eric Rosen's eyes and chessboard. While I'm distracted, I eventually realize this beautiful woman I was interested in has left my side and is talking to another dude. And when I glance over, she gives me a dirty look, like something's wrong with me. The chess women need to talk some sense into their less mentally impressive peers. I don't want her. Thank you for helping me rule her out, Eric Rosen. You're not interested in chess. I'm not interested in you. In extreme cases, I'm so focused on the TV when chess is on, I forget to go on stage when it's my turn to perform. I don't even hear my name called. My point is, chess is a sport designed for television. The obvious challenge is the incredible skill of the strongest players in the world can be intimidating for new or even intermediate chess athletes. But once you get them in the door and bridge that gap to where they have a base level of understanding, they will love watching top-level chess as much as I do. All we need is to mix in a little bit of music and let the chess women put their brilliant, beautiful, intelligent personalities on display for the world to see. Oh, we'll watch. I just need to know, ladies, do you prefer piano or guitar? And what are a few of your favorite songs? I'm ready to go right now. Speaking of the chess women, the U.S. Chess Championships are happening right now here in St. Louis, Missouri. some of the strongest women in America and the world are battling as we speak. You let me down, Levy. We're taking a break. Taking a break, buddy. The highest rated player in the field, I believe, is Grandmaster Fabiano Caruana. But I watched an interview before the event started, and Caruana was mentioning he feels normal amounts of pressure. And anyone in the field could win. It just depends on who's playing well at the right times. Hi, Wesley. Sam just published a book on Rook Endgames. Hans Niemann will always have my heart. And hello, ladies. Hello. Probably the most well-decorated in the field here at the top. But some high numbers. Okay, I'm going to put my silly, dramatized internet personality away for a second. That's absurd. That's absurd. Age 13. That's Polgar level prodigy status. I don't think she's playing as well as she liked from what I noticed on the Instagram interviews, but she's going to be a force for a long time. Now, I am planning to attend the closing ceremonies for the U.S. Chess Championships, where I can add a few autographs to my peak performance book. Of course, my ELO is about half of the strongest chess women in America. This time next year, I might be skilled enough to put up a fight for one game. But this year, well, since I can't impress the chess women with my play, well, why else do you think I started this YouTube channel? Bringing my introverted self out of my shell. I gotta tell chess jokes to impress the chess women. And make no mistake, 2023 is the year of the woman in chess. There is no classier social group than the chess women. Higher ELO always gets my attention first. We've got to make ourselves stand out. So when I approach the chess women for autographs at the closing ceremonies, I'll come up confidently and say,
thinking of how I will introduce myself to the chess women makes me feel like that shy new kid in high school. Desperately trying to make friends with the cool kids. Again.
ladies, I just wanted to ask you. I just wanted to let how can I put this let's say all your friends uh she got off to a great start. Remember the one you said if you ever she would be the one. Okay. Defending champ right here. I like winners. They're all winners, but most recent winner might be my first autograph request. Well, so I was thinking hypothetically. I mean, don't take this seriously. Don't take me well. Not credibly. I'm feeling incredibly. Let's let it be. I mean, just let it be. I mean, you hurry me. I mean, you hurry me. Maybe, baby, baby, baby. you, you, you know, I was just kidding. Unless you're gonna do it. Ah. That introduction, if it doesn't get me slapped, should earn my autograph, a selfie for my Instagram, at least 1 minute of the chess women's super valuable time, and a couple chess tips. That's what's going on with the strongest American chess athletes right now. As for my own chess development, I recently participated in September Nights, an over the board chess tournament through the St. Louis Chess Club. 4 rounds, 1 battle per week. I finished 2-2. And I really like this approach. Of course, if I get a chance to play or do chess entertainment full time, I will spend 80 hours a week studying, going to lectures, events, whatever I get to do. For now, I drive Uber at night. I have a dog who loves me dearly, and I want to have some social life. So, playing 1 game per week over the board, longer game, 70 minutes with a 5-second delay, allows me time to really analyze deeply for the remainder of the week instead of playing excessively and being tired. I read something that Magnus Carlsen, arguably the greatest ever, doesn't love doing puzzles. He really likes to play. So, even though Magnus is so strong, he might not be one of the highest rated puzzle players on chess.com. That's going to be my approach. I worked in tech before and during COVID lockdown. I spent the first few years going to all these classes. People saying, Dayton, read this book, go talk to this person. And that gave me a start. But when I really figured things out and maximized my talent was when I just got access and I played around and I made mistakes and I broke things in the sandbox. And then I finally got to where I was competent. And I'm going to do that with chess because at the intermediate level, you don't see positions you would see at the higher levels. A lot of them are similar or even the same, even deep into the middle game. And as I analyze my own play, chess.com will suggest me lessons and insights. If I come across something new, I might spend more time on it or try to find a grandmaster game similar to what I experienced. Lastly, and then I'm going to jump into a few of my battles, you'll notice when I'm showing you my post-game analysis, I'm not super focused on the opening phase of the game right now for a few reasons. One, I feel like I get more bang for my buck training the middle and end game. The opening phase for me right now, I just make sure I don't lose a pawn. I don't spend too much time thinking, and I get my king to safety. Those are my new rules that I'm implementing for October nights and at least till the end of this year. Because that allows me at least two important benefits. First of all, rushing the open a little bit and playing conservative, I might not get an advantage out of the open, even as white, but it takes me more time to calculate in the middle and end game than more experienced athletes, even if they're not as strong as me, because I haven't played that long. Two, being conservative in the open ensures every game at least goes for a lot of moves, at least 40 moves, always. I don't care how strong my enemy is, 40 moves. That way I see as many positions as possible each week, and I can analyze. Since I'm behind, like I mentioned, I didn't play chess until COVID lockdown, almost 26 years old. I need to see as many things as possible. Let's jump into it. Who wants to play chess with me? Okay. My fourth and final battle of September nights was by far the most evenly matched. I played as white, which means I will always have a chance against enemies unless they get up to, 1800 and above. Not saying I should win those games, but I can if enemy doesn't play his or her best and I play my best. Here, that move, an inaccuracy. The best move is probably either to take, hey, I figured out the arrows. It only took me 2 years, chess.com, or pawn e3 so my light square bishop can get in the game. But like I said, the opening phase, I'm just trying to be safe, keep that, that does at least keep the bishop from absolutely pinning my knight, and it's okay. Now, this move here, I could have taken, but I didn't want to allow dark square bishop to get in the game early. So I instead protected my pawn, which I believe is the best move, and then gives my bishop chances to get in the game. That's a fine move. Again, not too worried about the opening. The best move was bishop e2, which, from my understanding, would prevent knight and or bishop from getting anywhere on these light squares because it would be controlled by my bishop and my queen. Probably the purpose of that move. But again, not a problem. Fine move by the enemy. My king is safe. I'm very happy with this open. As you can see, it's basically even. But this is great. Now, I played this fine. A few ways I could have played it. I could have, of course, taken with my queen first. What I was thinking is if I did that, that would allow enemy bishop to capture my hanging c2 pawn. So I didn't do that. But apparently that would have been completely fine. Now, enemy doubles pawns on the g file. I take advantage of that absolute pin on enemy c6 knight, getting my queen right in the middle. Fine move by the enemy. Best move by me. And here's where I'm happy. This is not a move I would have been comfortable making several months ago. A little more aggressive and the best move. Now, what I saw here, what I thought was going to happen, is what should have happened. Queen takes. My queen takes back. And then my knight takes bishop. But that's why over the board chess is so interesting and somewhat different from online. We're all human. Pressure, time trouble, all those things become a factor. And enemy chose to retreat the queen. Okay. Then I correctly take with check. And as you can see, I've got a little bit of an advantage here. Learning point number 1. When something good happens, whether it be surprise, great move by me, or the enemy makes a bad move that gives me chances to go into the middle game with a lead, I need to not rush. I need to be patient, maybe even go to the bathroom. Because had I played the best move, queen c3, well, now the bishop can't escape because I have a queen check. I take a pawn, right? So what would have had to have happened had I made that queen move instead of taking with the knight is, I believe the best move was g5. And then I have my choice. I can either take that pawn, and yeah, it's a doubled pawn, which aren't usually strong, but it's still a pawn. To lose a pawn that early is not ideal. Or I could go ahead and capture and eventually lose my bishop and then double my pawns to the f file. But I got excited, still learning. And I'm still doing well. This move here, at the intermediate level, it's fine, but I would assume it's an inaccuracy. 16. Yeah, seems to be an inaccuracy. What my thought, and this is why you analyze, I mentioned Eric Rosen in the introduction to this video, and he's somewhat of a celebrity in St. Louis. In one of Eric's videos, he showed how he takes notes when he analyzes his own games. Eric uses a computer program. I write mine down. But that's so important because in the game, I thought I was being aggressive here. If you want to castle, you're going to castle behind your doubled pawns, right? But as you can see, that's the best move. And upon further uncomfortable self-reflection, I realized in the back of my mind, it's kind of a passive move because what I didn't like is this rook on the open H file, which is not really a threat. And I essentially wasted a move helping enemy do what enemy should have done anyway. But that's not what happened. Enemy chose to do what I would say most intermediate to even advanced chess athletes would do at my level. Chase my bishop out. Doesn't like my bishop in its territory. So, again, I'm just too focused on thinking enemy wants to castle this way. I don't know why. But still fine. Now, I don't have to spend any time thinking about this at all. Of course, queen threatening checkmate, protected by the rook. And in the longer games, I would never fall for something so simple. So, best move, knight. Now here, I think this was just a one move play, which is not what you want to do. But we saw Magnus Carlsen's one of his games in the Gotham Chess video being analyzed. And Magnus is known for wanting the enemy to commit enemy pawns, while Magnus doesn't move his own until later. So this could have been an effort to get me to commit my king or the pawns in front of my king, but I don't think so. Now, of course, I make another best move. You know, previously, that was a threat, protected by the knight, with mate again. Now, that queen is cut off, and the knight is being threatened. I can take because the rook is no longer protected by the queen. And so enemy has to retreat the knight. And this is fine for me. Okay. Use a little more time than I would have liked. And here is an example of why it's so important to recognize the difference between commentating and actually executing at a high level. Because for me, I know this isn't a lovely move, but it was just for some reason, I wanted to push these pawns. And I felt since this pawn was protecting that pawn, I would get my rook to protect it and free this pawn. But I don't need to free this pawn. Because even if I do and I start pushing, I don't want to chase this knight out because it has a nice outpost it'd probably like to go to anyway. And you'll notice for the rest of my game, my rooks don't coordinate and enemies' rooks work together, which is kind of the difference in the game. Okay, here, don't overthink it. I should have just taken. But at least I knew what I was looking at. I was thinking if I take, that's scary, right? Turns out it's not that scary. There are ways it can be fine. But what these pawns are going to do is they're going to work together and march down, and eventually that's how I lose the game. So here, again, got to be better with my time. You never want to trade unless you are the one with the space disadvantage. I'd say I have a little bit better space, but little on time, so I accepted the trade. Okay, now, I don't know if that was a great move, but at least it covers that pawn and frees the knight. So I took. And now, still totally playable. If now my king is protecting that h3 pawn, bring my rook, right? There, now it's not good for me. Because if I get my rook over here, as soon as that king comes or another, however enemy puts double pressure on my b5 pawn, which is really my last hope, my rook can come over and I have two protecting. But see, and now it's getting pretty close to over, because had I got my rooks over there together, I have some things I can do. At least enemy has to earn the win, because things like, let's say rook comes and then let's just play it out. So whatever happens, whatever. You eventually have to be careful if you want to use your king over here, and if you want that pawn, I'm going to win one of your pawns. And you have to look out for things like me pushing my e pawn, because this pawn would no longer be protecting the c pawn if it took. And especially if that king ends up having to back up, I'll have a check, and then I'll be able to steal that pawn too. So I at least would have made him earn it had I played it properly with my rooks. But then, see, and that move did me in. And you'll see, which I'll stop before it gets painful. What you'll see is, after a few moves, these pawns will push, the king will work its way around, and this pawn will be way too slow to promote. But I'm fine with that game. Completely fine with that game. Enemy was good. Enemy's been playing for a long time. I mentioned St. Louis is the chess capital of America. A lot of my competition right now is teenagers or young adults who have played and are usually taking some formal classes, which top-notch instructors in St. Louis, Missouri. So they know what they're doing, and they're more technically sound than me. Not a bad game overall. I'm going to show one more game. And this game was against probably the strongest player in the field. He was rated 1717. There was one player rated higher, 1785. But this enemy defeated the higher rated player, and I think he ended 4-0. So though he's rated 1717, due to COVID, and I think he's in school, he's a little rusty. So he's going to get back on track pretty quickly. I kind of had my chance when he was getting back in the swing of things. Okay, here we go. So I played as white, and again, I have chances. As long as I don't get in a deficit against stronger enemies, which you'll see in this battle, once I get down a little bit, it starts to show. They make quick moves. They don't have to think much, and it burns my clock if I even want to stay in the fight to make good decisions at a deficit. So here we go. All fine. Here, I should kick the bishop. But I remove pin, so at least there is no more relative pin on my knight to my queen. Now, if I'm going to mess up, I need to be consistent with my strategy because now I chose to kick the bishop, right? I should have done it before, and now I have the pin removed. But it's fine. And now enemy took a little longer than I expected to think here. And the time's about equal. Here, the best move, I believe, is d5, which then I assumed the horse would gallop to e5. I saw this, but enemy is much more experienced and stronger. I don't want target practice. I want the horse to sit there on c6 until I tell it it's okay to move. So I chose to make a good move, not the best move. And here's where I could be annoying. I often do this. I make fine moves, but often not the expected or best move, which could be frustrating eventually to stronger players who have played people that make sense and grew up in chess school their whole life. And this caused enemy to think again. The best move, knight d7, putting pressure on my pawn and allowing the bishop to see, was not made. Here's where I'm proud of myself. I didn't have to think super long. This is good. Again, I have a very small lead in the open. This enemy is much stronger than the previous. So, learning point number 2, aside from being patient once something good happens for me in the open, I should never try to make too aggressive or surprising moves in the open against players of this caliber. Because, one, he's realizing now, and he told me after the game, he's like, okay, your rating's much higher than it shows. And at this time, I don't think I was 1100 yet because I haven't played that much over the board. And so now he knows I don't suck. 2, he's good enough to where I basically woke him up. So now I need to just get my king safe and play chess. Never try to make too aggressive or surprising moves. Kind of like opening best practices. I don't think there's anything that I've read that says don't try to make too good or aggressive moves, but you don't want to be repetitive, move the same piece, things like that. And for me, that's my takeaway. Don't try to do too much. If you get one shot, take it, be happy, and then get your king to safety. And I didn't do that. Now here, my plan, of course, bishop takes, double those pawns, and again, play chess, get my king safe soon. But another difference between online and over the board. Touch move. Touch move. I watched PogChamps, which was, I believe, last month. I think the athlete/internet personality's name was Frank. And Frank, even if he was doing fine, he was just nervous. He would touch every single piece on the board. Sometimes it even seemed like he was wanting to touch the enemies. And then he would finally make a move. That's okay online. But touch rule. I touch my queen here. Since I touched my queen, I have to move it somewhere. And as soon as my hand hit my queen, I was so mad because I gave the advantage right back. And the way I look at it now, I kind of, until my king is safe, I almost treat my queen with a similar mentality I do my king. Because there are just so many ways, especially when you're not super experienced with chess, that pieces can discover, things can happen that are hard to predict, and your queen is suddenly in jeopardy or you're having to retreat it, losing tempo. So, best move made by the enemy. Enemy also could have taken the knight. And now, little psychology in chess. Don't get mad. Again, we're all human, just like I joked about with Levy Rosman. You know, even he makes mistakes saying chess isn't a sport for television. But seriously, over the board, even more so. It's definitely far from over here. Don't live in the past and refocus. Get my queen back to where she belongs. Because now, best move was made again. Knight fork, my queen and my bishop. Oh. And had I got my king to safety, this pawn does not have to be protected. But now, my only move, because I can't really do much with my queen on this side to protect my pawn, it can get attacked, is what was made here to protect my pawn. And I'm still fine here. Online chess habit again. When you play a lot of rapid and blitz, you get so used to getting to see the analysis right when you finish. So sometimes it's like, okay, while I'm playing, I'm like, what's happening? Am I better? Am I worse? Because I'm used to just checking immediately. But over the board, you have to play it out and not be thinking about how much you're up or down. Because enemy, one of two times, gave me chances to get right back to even. There's no reason to rush and take that bishop. The best move is knight takes on e5. Now, if knight takes on e5, my queen is threatened. I can't take this knight because if I did take that knight, of course I lose my queen. I would never do that. The game's over. And that move, that move, the best move, would have allowed the bishop to do what it was intended to do when it was fianchettoed, which is control this long diagonal in a very annoying way. So I went from not only a good position, but a position that put enemy's plan and one of its primary strengths at risk, which is that fianchettoed bishop being blocked by this pawn. Two, a little bit of anger, letting it spiral. And now, as you'll see, my advantages are gone, and I have no control of center, nor is my king safe. So, still, enemy rushed, took that bishop. Now, of course, I take. Slight mistake number 2 by the enemy. Taking there allows me to take queen takes on b7. Then probably what would happen is rook b8. Then, let's play that out. I could still probably even take that pawn. Right? Or maybe the best move, queen e4, and now the rook can't immediately take my pawn because the knight is being threatened doubly. So you have to do something about that knight before you take this vulnerable b pawn, right? And then it's playable. As you can see, I'm only down less than a half a pawn, according to MrChess.com engine. But, again, frustration, thinking I was a lot worse than I was. I was a move late. And now it's not fine anymore. Because now when rook goes to b8, that bishop is not blocked by the knight like it was. Now that knight is gone. And the rook comes. The bishop's there. And now, also, it's definitely not okay to take this pawn like I did. I have to get my queen back to e4. And then I don't know what would happen. Because then if you want to take the knight, yeah, I'm going to double that pawn. But then, let's play that out. Let's say you want to do that. Okay, yeah, they're doubled pawns. I'm still worse. But at least that pawn's not hanging anymore. Okay. Now here. Still not completely over. Definitely not looking good. But knight e2 is the best move. Just for learning purposes, I'll continue to show. Because after, let's say I do that. Okay. And then we'll play more or less what happened. Now, if I want to, I can threaten the queen. And eventually get my, well, I couldn't do that now because the bishop is seeing my rook. But let's say, okay, I do that. And then queen goes wherever it wants. let's say you make a silly mistake, which would not happen. But, well, not that silly. Not that silly. Okay, you're not going to lose your queen for free. But now, let's say I get back here. I can put pressure on this rook now. Whereas what I was seeing is anything that happens. Like I figured that would. I figured at this point I was going to be able to save my knight somehow. But then I realized that bishop is actually not threatened, because if I do that, mate in 2. Right? So that's why that knight getting to e2 was a way to at least prolong the game. And last thing, more for just if any beginners are watching, I was thinking I could be surviving after something like this several moves ago when I was analyzing it. Now I know it's bad because, again, that's why you get your king safe, because I can't take with my rook because there's enemy rook in the way. And if I have to take my queen, I lose a queen and I can basically resign now. So once I realized I was losing my knight, I'm very sad. Made a few more moves, but it's over. It's over. Main takeaway from this battle is never give up, especially over the board, because a lot of the lines I looked at, you know, especially had I, even if I don't start playing correctly until, let's say, here, and I instead retreat. Most of the lines I looked at ended with me, of course, losing my knight. But in exchange for my knight, I would at least get one pawn, maybe that pawn, and one of my rooks to the 7th. So let's say I lose that knight, get one pawn in several moves, get my king safe, and one of my rooks to the 7th. That at least forces enemy to earn the win. But overall, great learning opportunities from September Nights. The world's going crazy. I'm 28. I'm giving this a run until I'm at least 30, because chess is super fun and the people seem fabulous. I know you're going to go watch the U.S. Chess Championships and hopefully start playing yourself if you haven't already. There are fabulous content creators, though Levy Rosman made an uncharacteristic bad mistake. Chess is not a sport, not going to get on television. There are fabulous content creators and instructional content on the internet. It's never too late to learn. I've heard it all. I'm too old to learn an instrument, or chess is not for my brain. It might work, you know, or I don't have the time, or whatever it is, whatever your excuse is. All I'm saying is I know you want to. I see the emotion in your eyes that you try not to show. We get the closest. When I wish Kanye West would have gotten into chess. He's still, I'd love to play some chess with Kanye. Kanye would probably be really good at chess. Super creative, talented artist. Chess athletes are artists as well. Because instead of the drugs and the, you know, sex with multiple beautiful women, which sounds terrible, you know, chess is a much safer, healthy outlet. But we get the closest when you high, or you drunk, or you blow. So I'll pour the potion and we can both get high as we can go. Then I'll get the lotion and do something to me when your thighs is exposed. There's no turning back now. I mean, I don't mean to impose. Not now, but right now, I need you to undress and then pose. Oh, I'm into that now. Catch a vibe when the doors get closed. And roll up the Doja, Henny and Coca-Cola, then I guess I'm coming over and we'll play some chess. have a great rest of your week. Until next time.